What's going on, everybody? And we are back here in some more Need for Speed 2015. So, in today's video, I have an interesting little theory. I think if I remember, I think I've made a version of this video before, uh, but I didn't really go into very much depth of this type of theory. But I think it's time to be known the little back history for this game, and some of the lore, some of the cool types of thing for this game. Now, it's no secret that this game is pretty much labeled as the unofficial Need for Speed Underground 3. Um, it just has a lot of those modern type aesthetics and everything like that. Nothing like what um, the old Underground series does. But people in the past have labeled this game the unofficial, you know, um, Underground 3. It has everything what Underground 3 has, all of that sort of stuff, but it just doesn't fit in the old games, if I remember. So, what led me to this whole thing was if you guys picked up the deluxe version of this game actually gave you the most wanted um, hero card livery, which is kind of interesting because Payback has done it too before, um, and all of that sort of stuff. But I think it's probably best if I kind of ignore it a little bit. So starting off, who I think who do I think is well? Why do I think the lore theory that Travis is player? If you guys are unaware or don't know who Travis is pretty much the crew leader that you fall into with. Um, he's the dude in red, all of that sort of stuff. Here, let's go into our messages. Travis is this dude right here. This is Travis. He looks like your typical hillbilly looking dude. Some dude you'll probably find at Trailer Park or something like that. But my unofficial theory is that this is player. How do I know, or why do I think this? Well, for starters, if you guys have bought the deluxe edition, well, we're gonna go here in the garage. But if you guys have bought the deluxe edition of the game, they give you a replica of the um, most wanted card. So let's go. Um, I think I might have to. Yeah, let's swap this to. Um, oh no. We're going to have to sell a car. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. So here we can do purchase car. Very first one is the BMW M3 E46. Now, I'm not saying that this is the official um, Need for Speed Most Wanted car, but it does serve as a deluxe car. Now, why I think this is because I think this is Travis's car. I think this is Travis's car. He used it. Now, it's free. It's free to buy. But if you actually buy the E46 model, you also have it as a. Let's go over here. Paint and wrap. I don't want to. So if you go over to preset wraps, it's also a preset wraps, but it is. I don't know why it's known as splash, but yeah, I think over the years that Travis rebuilt. Well, couldn't rebuild the car because the actual car was a race car, but he rebuilt a replica, put the paint on it, and then he added all the stickers and everything like this. and I think he used this car for his unofficial, um, his Outlaw series. Spoilers alert! But if you guys have never played this game, you have a piece or a mission section in this game to where you do outlaw stuff, which is running from the cops, um, baiting the cops, all of that sort of stuff. Run roadblocks. You have to race some races with cops and all of that sort of stuff. And Travis is behind of this mysterious outlaw gang, in Ventura Bay, running circles around all of these cops. And if you guys watched some of the uh, cutscenes and everything like that, Spike, he gives off a little bit of background about who the outlaw gang is. They drive sleepers, all in black, and they just smoke everybody. They do lights, the street light, stop go sort of things. Smoke everybody and then just disappear. To me, that sounds very much like a blacklist from Need for Speed Most Wanted. An outlaw crew who primarily focuses on racing and, um, baiting themselves to the cops to be the most notorious. So here's the outlaw. Um, Now, the outlaw is, as well Travis. Um, he takes on this persona of outlaw. He runs a gang of outlaws outside from his regular gang and all of that sort of stuff. So what actually leads me to believe that Travis is player? So back in Need for Speed Carbon, and after you beat Razor in Need for Speed Most Wanted, we've only ever gotten two, like maybe two scenes of how player would have looked like. Uh, in Need for Speed Carbon, you can see him in the rearview mirror, just his eyes and all of that sort of stuff. And then you see him, walking up to Razor after beating him in the BMW, and it's not um, too theoretic, I'd say, but that player does run with a black leather jacket. And if you look at all of the scenes within this game, Travis wears a tattered black leather jacket, which kind of leads me to believe that maybe Travis may have been player. Um, but it doesn't really unofficially know that Travis um, kind of says, "Oh, I've been here and there," but we don't know the backstory to any of the real life players. We don't know the backstory to Amy, to Robin, to Manu, Spike, and Travis. But the one thing that really piques my curiosity about this theory is Melissa. Melissa is from Need for Speed Underground. Now, um, Melissa is Eddie's girlfriend. East Side Riders. Um, the the iconic R34. Now, Travis hits you up and talks about, hey, I have this friend Melissa who came here to Ventura Bay, and they're looking for racers to do this little race event. Travis explains that she's an old friend with her and Eddie, and he said that's ancient history. Now, in the underground, era and everything, there's no official names or any official characters under the name Travis, except for under the fact that player is an unnamed character, which it portrays as the character of you. So that leads me to believe that Travis actually may have been player. I think this was, I'm not sure who, I think this was Black Box. Or no, Ghost Studios. They're the ones who create or who developed this game. And I think this might have been their way of unofficially revealing who player actually was. So, the last time that we seen the BMW was in Need for Speed Carbon when when Cross comes and gets you. There's a theory that Darius may have had the car towed back to him, or the car got impounded, or something like that. But it's kind of strange because when you go into Need for Speed Heat, um, there's the theory that the BMW was sitting in the tow truck in the chop shot scene, which is actually officially um, officially the real thing. Now, when you get the car, the official Need for Speed car and Need for Speed Heat, that's still a replica. That is still very much a replica. I think that the car was, when it was in the chop shop, got put into an impound or something like that. And ultimately, in Need for Speed um, Unbound, Razor gets, Razor's Legend Edition, well, the 30th anniversary edition BMW that you get was, the actual most wanted car, which makes sense. But Travis here is in his own little world here in Ventura Bay. I think it's actually kind of funny that um, in Need for Speed Heat, Joe or Richie, one of the two that drive the yellow Polestar at the beginning of the game, um, lives here in Ventura Bay because he's from Ventura Bay, but I don't know who he is in this game. But yeah, part of Anna's crew is here from Ventura Bay. Also, another theory that I do believe that the player that you play um, here in Need for Speed 2015, is this is a little bit of a far-fetched theory, but I do believe the player that you play as right here is actually Tyler Moore. Um, but even though that he's been in Fortune Valley for his whole life, but it doesn't seem to disregard the fact that this could be Tyler Morton in this game. No, there's no official things about that, but I think it would be um, kind of interesting to think that because in Need for Speed Payback, Tyler is only 23. Here he would be only 21. 15, 16, or 17. Well, 20. Yeah, 21. I'd say. So it's not too far fetched because Ventura Bay is supposed to be a representation of San Francisco, I believe. Um, and Fortune Valley is a representation of Las Vegas. So it's not too far fetched to, you know, if Tyler was either, you know, had a run or he, made a trip out to Ventura Bay or to do some racing or something like that. But that's kind of a far fetched theory as for Tyler Morgan. But another theory for it that this player that you play as in 2015 is your same character you make and play with in Need for Speed Heat, which is also a pretty decent theory because the player in that game is actually an out of town player looking for racing and heard about the showdown and all of that sort of stuff. But going back to the theory, I digress. Going back to the theory of Travis being player, it's not too far fetched at all. Um, you get this. You get the well, an unofficial deluxe edition of the Most Wanted car. Um, with the deluxe edition of the game. Travis, he does a lot of the outlaw stuff. He presents himself as an outlaw racer, races basic cops, does things with the cops. Um, wears a tattered leather jacket. Player wore a leather jacket and needs to be most wanted, and all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I thought maybe this could be a little bit of a theory type thing. Um, that Travis, he might be the unofficial reveal of player. We always went through the fact that it could have been Riley Cooper or something like that, but no. I think that this story and the lore theory of this game um, is pretty unnoticed. A lot of people said they didn't like this game or anything like that, but um, yeah, but this game has a lot of lore theory than people think, and I think this should kind of be studied upon if if some dudes like doing that and whatnot. But um, yeah, I think Travis is a player, and and well, his real life counterpart was the unofficial um, reveal of who player is. I think that's what Ghost Games probably intended to do, because he knows Melissa, he knows Eddie, and when you get the call from him, he talks about that it's ancient history and all of that sort of stuff. So, um, Travis is in the universe of Underground and probably Carbon and Most Wanted and all of that sort of stuff. So, I thought that was a pretty interesting thing to talk about. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. What I would like to see, this kind of stir up and see what people think about it, and if anybody has any type of war stories themselves for this game or anything like that. So, yeah, I think that's about it for this video. If you guys like this sort of content, go ahead and give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.